News at 8 o'clock. We have a police pursuit of a driver wanted for assault with a deadly weapon and armed robbery. I'm Jeff Vaughn.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Susie Sell, along with Mike Rogers at the desk. Let's go upstairs now to Desmond Shaw, live in SkyCal, for an update for us. Desmond.
Jeff and Susie, we just heard here from the airship overhead. They believe there are 3 people in the car believed to be armed and dangerous because of the wants. Again, it is either armed robbery and or assault with a deadly. That according to LAPD. It is LAPD that is in pursuit of this vehicle, this dark, older model GMC Yukon. Again, believed to be 3 in the car. This began in the South LA area, came eastbound on the 10 and then South 5, South 710. And now we're making our way towards Long Beach, getting up to 80 or 90 miles an hour on this one. It has kind of been flying away from us, so we're still trying to catch up here. But you can see, I'll just widen out for a second, quite a few units in tow of this one. And actually, there were 2 law enforcement helicopters as well. It's going to be LAPD as well as LA County Sheriff's deputies. We'll see if they continue to have 2 from the sky, which would definitely make you think that they really want to get these suspects, again, possibly armed and dangerous. 3 in the car of this GMC Yukon, southbound on the 710 with LAPD. Jeff and Susie.
Okay, yeah, this is breaking news here on KCAL News, and thank you so much for joining us as we get off the top of the hour with this police pursuit. As Des just mentioned, Sheriff's Department, LAPD also in pursuit. Mike Rogers is now at the assignment desk. Can you clear up a little bit as to the want here, Mike?
Yeah, so Jeff and Susie, it was just, Desmond mentioned, either armed robbery or assault with a deadly weapon. Well, we believe it is both, really. So armed robbery was originally what these Newton officers, it was officers from LAPD's Newton Division, got behind the vehicle for. Now, during the course of the pursuit, we've heard the helicopter ask the ground units, do we know which seat the shooter is sitting in? So that leads us to believe, obviously, that the assault with a deadly weapon aspect of it. And then we also heard them give some details about it. And this was actually a shooting I was listening to on the scanners during our 5 o'clock hour. It was over at San Julian and Pico. It came out as a shooting with a possible victim down. So I was actually making some calls on that when we had to go to a different shooting. And they're obviously have picked up this person at some point. So now they're trying to get him to stop. But again, that shooting happened at San Julian and Pico, and they are trying to figure out which seat in the car the shooter is sitting in, or if it's the driver. So as far as the armed robbery portion of it, it's very possible that that car, the license plate on the car, came back to being also wanted in an armed robbery, but we believe the primary reason they are chasing this person was for that shooting that we were listening to at San Julian and Pico earlier.
And that shooting, Mike, was in South LA, and that's where this pursuit started?
Correct, yeah. This started in, one of my coworkers on the desk, Orlando, was actually giving Desmond some clarifying information. Central Division officers were the ones who originally got into this, and then Newton was right on their tail. Central and Newton, if you don't know, border each other. So it's right there where the 10 freeway splits. Newton gets a little bit north of the 10 freeway. So both of those guys were trying to do this at the same time, and actually they asked everybody to switch over to Newton frequency. Now, as Desmond pulls out, they have repeatedly added units to this pursuit. We're almost getting into the Long Beach area now, but I had heard them request at least 6 units to be in the pursuit. It looks like there may be even more than that. The airship also offered to go into tracking mode. The watch commander denied tracking mode. And that is common when you have a suspect wanted for this caliber of alleged crime, armed, things like that. They don't like to go into tracking mode. They're also now, in and out of their city. They also don't like to be in tracking mode when they're not in their city. So right now, not in tracking mode. This is full-blown pursuit by the LAPD, who also has not given over to Newton frequency. Now, as Desmond pulls out, they have repeatedly added units to this pursuit. We're almost getting into the Long Beach area now, but I had heard them request at least 6 units to be in the pursuit. It looks like there may be even more than that. The airship also offered to go into tracking mode. The watch commander denied tracking mode. And that is common when you have a suspect wanted for this caliber of alleged crime, armed, things like that. They don't like to go into tracking mode. They're also now, in and out of their city. They also don't like to be in tracking mode when they're not in their city. So right now, not in tracking mode. This is full-blown pursuit by the LAPD, who also has not given it up to CHP.
Oh, he's losing it.
Oh,
he's
my
losing
goodness,
it.
going
Take it,
around
Des.
that curve.
Take it, Des.
It was
Slammed into the divider there. Wow. Wow, you know what? Driving a top-heavy vehicle here, took it too fast and jumping over. So we're just at the end of the 710 on the exit that goes towards downtown LA, and we have one suspect out of the vehicle and running. We're going to follow that suspect because we believe that there might be 2 other people in the car. I don't think I saw them get out of the car, so he just hopped over there down onto Golden Avenue and 4th Street, getting down into this neighborhood. It's one of the, again, they have 2 airships on this one, so one of them can break off and stick with this suspect who's now running here down the street. Let's see where this person goes, if this is somewhere they were meaning to go or what the deal is. But out on foot, I believe this is the driver that is out of the vehicle here running, Jeff.
Yeah, very desperate times for this driver as he's attempting to escape after getting out of this vehicle. And Susie, he lost control in that overpass. As Des mentioned, those SUVs are top heavy. He was going a little too fast and just kind of flipped it around. Two other people, we believe, inside the vehicle. This one outstanding.
That's right. Multiple people, as you're talking about. Mike Rogers was asking or talking about how multiple LAPD units were being added to this chase. You know, oftentimes we only see a certain number of police units behind chases, but when we know that there are multiple people inside a car and also that they are armed, at least one person we know inside this car we do believe was armed, they are going to take every precautionary measure to make sure at the end of the chase, as we're looking at right now, is a safe situation for officers as well as other people who are involved in this, obviously, because of the fact that there are multiple people inside this car.
Another level of danger as he goes into possibly this home here. We're going to show you on the inset box when that car started to lose control. But at the same time, we've got the very serious situation going on with that, we believe, armed driver who escaped and got on foot and then is now at this area here near, I believe it's going to be Golden and Fort Street that he mentioned. And there's a community just off of the freeway. You see on the right-hand part of your screen is when he lost control. But I haven't seen him since he turned around the corner. And we couldn't see him from the vantage point of the helicopter. But that would be a very dangerous situation, Susie, if he, we think, is armed with a gun, could get inside one of those apartments or one of those buildings.
With a gun, you know, like you were saying. And Desmond, can we see from your shot, I know you've been kind of focusing on this apartment building where one of the suspects fled to, but have you been able to see whether the ground units have been able to make any other arrests from that car?
Not yet. We wanted to focus on the driver who came out running here, and I do believe that those other two stayed in the car. Everything happened so quickly. I think they just decided to surrender. We'll have to verify that later, but we wanted to try to stay with this suspect. Last we saw in this area was underneath that awning. It took us a while to get around because LAPD's helicopter may have seen them come through the shot. They are on this one, so I believe they know where the suspect is.
Does that go down below the ground? You see, does that go down? Is that subterranean there, Des? It looks like it is. Do you see that? I wonder, because that's the last time we saw him was right there on the other side of that fence.
Yeah, this is the last time that we saw. We'll continue to move around here and see, but unfortunately, just eluded the lens there for. Yep. Yeah. You know, and someone out here wanting, what is the commotion? I think the suspect saw us looking at him, and then that really panicked him and got underneath this awning. And unfortunately, just trying to navigate with the other air traffic up here, he had a couple of seconds to get away. So we will see. Not seeing any ground units yet on this one either. But you see LAPD's helicopter. I think they feel pretty good about him being somewhere right here in this area. So it's just unclear if they went inside one of the. He would have had enough time if he went over that fence and up the staircase. If this is the suspect that has a gun, to potentially force their way in. We're just not sure how this all developed there when he was away from the lens there for a couple of seconds.
Yeah, I wonder, Mike, do you hear any chatter about what has happened so far?
Yeah, so right now the officers are actually having trouble getting to the location because if you remember, he jumped off the side of the overpass there. So he had the benefit of being able to kind of take a direct path. This is actually Long Beach PD. This is not even LAPD. This is Long Beach PD. Those LAPD units, I'm listening to the airship, are still trying to get to this building. They're trying to get off the freeway to get around here to get to him. So, pretty behind the curve, unfortunately, as far as catching up with him. And it was just a convenient spot for those guys to be able to wreck that car. But now you see Long Beach PD showing up in force as well. Like Des mentioned, sheriff's helicopter, and this is our first LAPD unit. That's from Central Division, now showing up as well. So we'll see. The airship was like, we're gonna keep an eye on this building, and they're gonna try to set up a perimeter. But it didn't. Is that him on the balcony there, Des? Straight in?
Well, there's somebody up there. I thought it was a resident. We saw somebody down below there. He was dressed in all black, and he looked pretty tired when he came around that corner there. What do you think, Susie?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. There's so many people out there right now. It's hard to tell whether these are people involved in the pursuit or perhaps just looky-looing. I don't know if people maybe saw what was happening out there. It looks like that person getting into a car.
Well, they're trying. Are they trying to indicate to police, Des?
Yeah, it's hard to tell here. We're just dealing with some of these buildings, and all these kind of these people scurrying all over the place here, waving people down, widen out and see if they're talking with. So here's police trying to set up their perimeter right now. They are waving in police. It certainly looked like they were waving them in here. So all it takes is one of these suspects to avoid the aircraft for 5 or 10 seconds, and it can just become incredibly difficult to determine where they ended up.
I see a level of concern
I'm not sure
right there with
LAPD
those
is
groups.
confident.
I see a level of concern with those people right there. They appear to want police to come down. I wonder if they know where that suspect is. I would guess they do.
That's my guess. Probably, maybe guiding police or hoping to guide police into where they believe the suspect went, but it's unclear right now. I know the ground units are there, and I'm sure they're making a plan right now, setting up the perimeter as they do after pursuit. And it was difficult in this situation because, as Mike Rogers was talking about on the desk, when the pursuit came to an end, everyone fled.